Hello and welcome to the Jesus Podcast. Please now welcome the host of the Jesus Podcast, Jesus Putnam. Hi, it's me. Welcome to the Jesus Podcast. My name is Jesus. You can call me Jesus. I just want to remind everybody, not the Son of God. Nope. I am the son of Clyde, a guy from a little town in Ohio. And I understand, Bible, they told you that guy was coming back. He's not coming back. So I'm not the Jesus you want. I'm the Jesus that you got. Okay. Still like that intro. I've got some beef jerky. I should be eating this late. But I'm not gonna lie, I have this bag of weed and there's like just the shake left, and I put that in there, and wow, did not expect to be this stoned. I'm not gonna lie. It's almost psychedelic. But on the other hand, I'm hungry as hell. Did not expect that. Anyway, don't want to be political this time. I think I've done enough politics type of thing. I'm bored of it. That's all I ever hear. That's Chloe, in case anybody's wondering. Only time you hear her make that noise, she's upset that I'm not continuously petting her, so. But where I really want to get started today. So I want to get started on the vegans. Okay? So, I don't want to hear about these vegans and how, why are you eating meat? You know what? Let me eat my meat. You're supporting big agriculture. You're supporting a monocrop culture because you're trying to turn all the soybeans in the world, all the meat you wish you could eat because of your, conviction to only eat vegetables for the rest of your life. Like Beyond Meat, the Impossible Burger. It's all just like, what do you want it for? Why do you need a hamburger? Why? Because you grew up or forget it. Just either eat the meat or shut the fuck up, because we plant more soybeans than everything. And the almond milk, all right? Do you know where 80% of the world's almonds are made? I'm going to tell you. In the state of California. Okay? That's right. In the state of California, 80% of the world's almonds are grown here. Do you know how much water it takes to grow one almond? A gallon. So, if anybody wonders why, California is always in drought situations, it's because we grow 80% of the world's almonds. Not to mention the pistachios as well. Okay? So, so all your almond milk, all your, I don't know about cashews. I didn't see anything about cashews. But all your almond milk, all that silk you're buying, that's just, sucking California dry. All right? It's not a lie, it's true. Go look it up. I'm not a news guy, and if you're too lazy to do it, well, then you're complicit in climate change. Also, what also the thing is? Because we grow so much almonds, and obviously they need to be pollinated, bees from around the country are brought to California every year to pollinate those trees. And guess what happens? Well, they're out here for months pollinating the same trees, So their diet isn't diverse, and it's contributing. They speculate, or the evidence is pointing to. I don't know for sure. I don't study bees. I'm just going off a documentary. Whether the documentary was biased, I don't know, but it kind of makes sense. You bring all these bees to pollinate all these trees for months on end and then ship them all back. The stress shipping in, the stress shipping back, the only one kind of flower for months on end. It can't be healthy. Just imagine you like eating nothing but, I don't know, carrots for 3 months. That can't be good for you, right? So yeah. So I don't want to be at the freaking checkout line putting my groceries onto the conveyor belt and have you come up behind me and say, "Excuse me, I'm a vegan. Could you take your meat off that conveyor belt?" And I was like, "What?" She's like, I'm vegan, and like, could you wipe it down? I'm like, you want me to take the meat that is wrapped in wrapped in paper, wrapped in plastic, on the conveyor belt, and then you want me to not only like remove it and hold it in my hands, then you want me to get a wipe and wipe down where the meat was at? I was like, no. She got so mad. I was just like, I'm just getting dinner. I'm getting dinner. I'm leaving. I'm sorry you're having a bad day. And then it's like, no, don't you know about, big cattle ranches and what they do and this, that, and the other and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, well, I could hunt, but in my mind I said that I didn't really engage her after that. I said, yeah, I did hold the meat in my arm because I was just like, I don't want to deal with it. But I don't understand. I wasn't bothering anybody. There wasn't meat bleeding on anything. It's just like with my mask. Okay, so I am a medical worker. I work at a COVID-19 mobile test site. We go to different places around the LA and OC area. Riverside. Not my van, but the vans that we have. And I've had COVID-19. And I've had the first round of the vaccine. And it was just announced, was it last week? That not only that most likely, well, not only should anybody who's had COVID-19 move to the bottom of the vaccine list, because they're already, if you survive, we're carrying antibodies, right? Well, it's almost unnecessary. Well, it is. According to the article, it's not really necessary to get the vaccine if you've had COVID. It's like when you have chickenpox. I don't know why they came up with the chickenpox vaccine anyways. Because as a kid, somebody in your class would get chickenpox, and then the next thing you know, you're spending the night at their house. That's how you got... That's what happened. They're like, oh, he's got you. Oh, yeah, go... Hey, we're going to send you over to Gary's house. I'm like, oh, good, I got you. Oh, don't worry about it. I'm telling you. Now they vaccinate you? Why? It's weird. I just realized that was not a good idea. Not a good idea at all. Habit. Anyway, so I went out in public without my mask because A, I can't get it, and B, I can't get it, and C, and this is probably the most important one, if I don't have it, I can't give it to anybody. And people were like, I'm like, oh, and I have documentation. I keep it on me because I got the email of the date that I got vaccinated, and I have and I have my list of tests that my test every time I go to work. I have to take a test, so I'm tested quite often. So, but people are like giving me pushback. I'm like, what do you want? I'm like, are we supposed to get back to it? Well, and they're like, well, what if there's another strain? I'm like, there's not another strain. But there could be, but there's not. I can't worry about what might happen. I might get hit by a car. Should I just like stay in my house or not drive? No, that's ridiculous. And I think we have to get out of this mentality that it's coming to get us. Let's look at the reality of it. All right, let's completely look at the reality. If most people who die of COVID-19, you can go look this up. Most people die. They're elderly. They have for the most part underlying issues. Things like that. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to get, and I'm going to explain to you why. Because I've did a podcast with my brother, and there were two other people in the room the entire time it was with us. And that room is, I don't know, 30. No, it's probably like 40 or 50 feet by. I'm going to say 60. No, I don't know. It's long and wide. It's long and wide. Let's just say it's like 30 by 15. There. And there were two, so it was me and my brother, and we were probably like, 3 feet apart. And then there was my brother's neighbor, and then there was my nephew. Now, my brother's neighbor was more than 6 feet away because he was on the other side of the phone that we shot it on, and if you want to see that it's the Christmas special episode that we did where we did the holiday beers, the Drinking with Jesus show, on the Jesus podcast, and nobody else got sick, nobody. We were in there for over an hour. It was just me and my brother, right? If it's windy outside, we have to pull down our tents, and then we just stagger you, one, and whatever, and so, but it doesn't matter, when you're outside, you're most likely not going to get it unless you're very close to somebody without a mask for an extended period of time, because when you think about COVID-19 traveling in our breath and everything like that, think of your glasses when they fog, right? Now, the reason why they fog is because they're going up to your eyes, and it's hitting the cool glass. And they continue to fog because you continue breathing, but if you're outside and you go like that, put your mouth to it and then pull back away from it. In Southern California, at least anyways, it's going to disappear. It's going to dissipate. It doesn't last very long. And if it does last, let's say if it lasts for, 30 minutes, just hanging out right where you're at, right? Well, as long as you're 6 feet away, the further you are away, just think the further you are away, the further it has to travel, and the more time it has to evaporate in those, invisible water droplets. Okay? Because we can't see them. I mean, you can see them when they sneeze and there's, some type of, when you're backlit, but they're tiny, they're small, they don't last very long. That's why nobody else in that room got sick. That's why my sister-in-law came in as soon as we were done. She didn't get sick. Okay? When I was quarantined with she who should not be named, she didn't get sick. She got tested going in. She wasn't sick. She got tested coming out several times, and they were all negative. Okay? But you just have to think in common sense terms, right? You have to think like with the 2 mask thing. I look at, and I'm going to tell you exactly who should wear 2 masks. If you have a shitty mask that is thin and barely fits on your face, and it doesn't really cover anything, yeah, put another mask on. You're the person who should be wearing 2 masks. I, on the other hand, when I'm at work, and it's the only mask I wear an N95 mask because it's available to me, all right? It's available to me. When doctors do surgery, they don't have 2 masks on. I've never been in a dentist's office. I've never been in a doctor's office where they've had 2 masks on. And they're like right up in your face. Their hands are in your, body. You've got an open wound. Okay? So, yeah. Some people who have crappy masks. And by the way, if you have that thing that fucking, that you put on your head and makes it look like the tip of an uncut penis, that's the worst thing you could wear. Because not only does it not stop any, much of the expectorant from your mouth if you cough or if you sneeze, not only does it not do that, on some of them, the fabric is so thin and tightly wound, it makes it makes a bigger cloud. It disperses it even better. So that's the worst thing you could wear. The best place you can be, outside. The worst place you could be, indoors. Indoors with a group of people without mask on. That's the worst place you could be. In a dorm with your roommate and you don't have great mask, or if you gotta, if everybody's gotta, have a common room, whatever, the worst place you could be is indoors. Outside, people should be allowed to go out running without masks. People should be allowed to, you should be outdoors without your mask on. Socially distanced, but you don't need your mask on, in my opinion, from what I've read. And I read a lot. Or at least about this, because I have to. I'm not an expert, but, I think I know more than most people. And most people who get sick, it's not when they've been at work. It's when they've been outside of work. That's why we only test on the way in and not on the way out. Because if we come into work, we do that swab, we'll know 6 hours later if somebody has it, and boom, they go home. Now, if you come into work and test positive, and you're way back in the next day, most likely it didn't come from the lab, because everything that goes into that lab, is dead. It's inert. Once it gets in that tube, there's no live virus anywhere. Yeah, there could be something on your hands, but every bag that comes in contact with anybody is wiped down with ethanol or isopropyl alcohol. a 70% solution. So we wear double gloves. We wear a mask. Out in the field, I have a mask and a face shield and a covering and gloves. It's when we're with our families that's the problem. So just think about that. Okay. What else did I want to talk about? Cook on the IG. Oh yeah. Shut up about Trump already. He's not president. There's nothing he can do. If the Democrats wanted to get rid of him, I talked about that in my last podcast. We already knew. We all knew. Everybody knew. See, that's the thing. This virtue signaling, identity politics, and I'm not going to carve on this. It's just wrong, all right? Just move on. It's like people are obsessed with an ex-girlfriend, like, oh, like that person you got with and they can't stop talking about their ex, and you're just like, fuck, dude. Let it go already, right? We got some motherfucker in there now who promised everybody $2,000 checks. Immediately, it's a month later, Texas is is experiencing a winter storm that hasn't been there in over 100 years, and millions of people don't have power. Millions of people, pipes are burst. And it's freezing. It's like 17 degrees. That's cold, man. I live in LA. We're approximately in the same climate. I know when it's 40 degrees outside, I'm cold as hell. Okay? So, and that is because of climate change. And they're blaming the windmills. I'm like, really, dude? It's actually all the deregulation. If you don't believe me, that's why Texas has some of the cheapest power and the biggest mining Bitcoin mining farms in America. Some of the biggest ones are in Texas because that's how cheap the power is. But see, here's the thing: they didn't winterize anything. I mean, why would you? But they could have done that. But no, they're like, oh, why? No, we'll just give the cheap power, and then just like with everything else, any business, large utility, bank, any government. I know I'm not getting into politics, and this is leading into something. Is they get bailed out, and we pay for it, and we can't even get $2,000 checks. You know what? It's ridiculous. They're in the entertainment industry in Los Angeles. If you are not a union crew member, you are fucked. Pardon my language. You're screwed. You really are. There is nothing out there. And it's terrible. It's horrible. We deserve more, which is why everybody should get involved. And this is the last thing I'm going to do on politics. Get involved. Call your representative. Go to Represent Us. I'm just going to look it up this time. Sorry. I should have this ready, right? I might own Jamie. Oh, it's go to represent.us and get involved in the what is it? I'm supposed to. I don't want to call it the wrong thing. Get involved with the For the People's Act. It's a bill. It's in Congress. It's the bill's name is HR 1. Go to the website. Find out who your senator is, find out who your representative is. You just got to go to senate.gov or house.gov and put in your zip code, and you'll find out who you can yell at, because tweeting about it isn't doing any good. So it'll take care of gerrymandering, it'll bring in ranked voting, and it will, democratize democracy again, instead of having it concentrated in these oligarchs and the their legally bribed lackeys, as most of them are. Right. So Texas, Bitcoin farms, Bitcoin people. You've got to get Bitcoin. All right. You don't have to get a lot. You're gonna have to start accumulating it. Okay, because think of it like you're buying Microsoft back in 1980, whatever. That's exactly what it's like. Well, it's more like the 90s, because it's pretty high up there. And my suggestion, and yes, what I'm about to tell you, never mind. I'm not even going to do it on here. Go get yourself a wallet. You can get a Ledger or a Trezor or a Bitcard. There's like 5 different wallets that are very good. They're digital wallets. You buy them at the various different. I don't want to mention any, because I don't want to like say I'm being shilled for anything, or you can do what you want. You don't want to buy Bitcoin, fine. You're going to get screwed, in my opinion. That's right. If you're not involved in the stock, you're going to get stock market. You're getting screwed right now. How do I know? I've never done this good in my life, and I don't know what's happening. So, but get it. That's going to be the digital currency. It's already happening. They're talking about a new Brentwoods, which is what happened after World War II. Everybody said, okay, U.S. is the lone superpower, so they got all the money, so we just started giving out cash, right? That's what happened. Or was that after World War I? It was after one of the wars. Look it up. I can't remember. But the IMF announced that they would like to go to a digital currency. So, if the IMF and the World Bank are like, yes, digital currency would be a great idea. Well, if the big banks are going to do it, you might as well be your own bank, because with Bitcoin, you can send it to anyone on any of the exchanges or individually for whatever reason, without having to go through the Swift network, without having to go through. It's like Venmo, but yeah, it's like Venmo. It's exactly the same way, except you don't have to hold it in your bank. You are the bank. You just keep it at home or locked in a safe, and you carry this little code around with you. Get it. It's the new internet. Everything's going that way. Blockchain. That's all I'm going to say about it. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to refer you to somebody who knows more than I do. As far as that goes, Let's see. Yeah, so we need to, as more people get vaccinated, we need to get back to normal. But the last thing I'm going to talk about is I have a 3D printer. Now, my friend, we haven't talked in a while. So this guy that I knew, who, by the way, very nice guy. His name is Ian. You can see him on Tim Pool's podcast. He used to live in my building. Like, he's like one of those high functioning, I don't know, dude. Yeah, I can't explain Ian. Ian is Ian. And he's probably like one of the smartest people I've ever met, just on the conversations that we've had together. And one time I said, I asked him a question, and I'm like, is there anything, I think I just said, is there anything that really weirds you out? And he's like, yeah, I guess knowing that I'm always the smartest person in the room. And I kind of paused and thought about how arrogant it was. And then you kind of go through the conversations you have, and you see how he easily flows through. Um, I don't know. You kind of know when he said it, and I thought about it. I was like, you're right. You're the conversations we'd have were just like spectacular, and the way his mind worked was like so brilliant. I mean, a guy who could, think on so many levels on the same time was kind of you don't meet too many people like that, But it's kind of weird. Actually, he's a great guy. Great guy. Music. Went down to the rainforest in Peru to help clean that up. Yeah. how he got in with Tim Pool, I have no idea. But with this video, I thought, once I get this thing all ready, I got it set up. Took me 2 days to get it set up. And then now I find out that it's still not set up right because I cannot get, and I've read and run, I've done everything. I have to make some adjustments. But I wanted to make a coin because I'm trying to make these coins. And the only thing that I've made so far is a moderate amount of green plastic spaghetti. And if you want to look at it, you can go to Instagram. That's why I had that Instagram note. I'm going to post it on Instagram right now because you can only see it in my stories. Well, you can look at my stories, but they'll be gone in a little while. Oh, man, it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't even know that. Okay, well, I want to go to bed. I was wondering why I was tired. So yeah, instead of making a coin, I made spaghetti. But, I figured it can't get much worse because I can't do worse than I'm already doing unless I break it. And I haven't broken it yet, so I guess it could get worse if I break it. But I don't think it's going to happen. I kind of think I have that figured out. So I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for tuning in. Be safe. Be kind. It says in the Bible, do unto others, treat others like you'd like them, like you like to be treated. That's how I try and do it. I'm not religious, but there's a lot of, good ideas in there. And just remember to fail. I've been failing for the past 3 days very miserably, and I've never been happier. I've never been like, honestly, every little failure that I overcome, I completely changed my mind on things, and we need to do that. So I encourage you to fail. Fail as often as you can, because if you're not failing, you're not growing, you're not trying, you're not expanding your mind. You don't want to succeed at doing nothing. People succeed at doing nothing every day. Every hour you're on that couch or playing that video game. Well, video games, but I'm just saying, if you're not making money from the video games, if you're not, if you're just like playing because you like playing video games, it's just like any other type of addiction, I guess. That's your drug of choice is video games. So fail at something. What's the worst that could happen? I don't think I do a great podcast. I don't think I have good topics. I don't think I have anything funny to say, but I do it anyway because maybe one person will listen to this. Maybe just one person and be like, you know what? That old guy with the faux hawk hair and the Hawaiian shirt on, maybe he's got, maybe he knows something I don't. And as a guy who spent a lot of his life afraid of failing, and a lot of his life in therapy, it's the best thing for you. And it'll make you a better person. Trust me. All right. That's the end of my podcast. Slap the like button. Hell, slap the don't like button. I don't care. I don't think anybody really listens. I don't look at the views, to be honest with you. I don't pay attention to them after I'm done because I've got other things. So subscribe if you want to subscribe. Cheers.